Good evening, guys. It's Rob from iTech Bakers, and tonight I think it's time that we have a little talk. It's time that we talk about what's going on in the world, about the coronavirus and the spreading. No, I think you are just like me. You look at the news, you look at what's going on. You see the coronavirus spreading out of China, and now it's in every country in the world. We all see what's going on in Italy, northern Italy, where now they have nearly 30 deaths and something like 1,200 cases. Of course, it's probably going to go up and up in the thousands and the thousands before this is over, of course. And the body bags are gonna pile up. And I think there's one thing that I've been talking about in my videos from the very beginning. It's that the death rate of the coronavirus, the mortality rate has been grossly underestimated. Even today, I've watched Donald Trump talk about the coronavirus. And he said most cases are mild, and if you are in good health, you're gonna survive. Uh, well, you know, according to my calculations, at first I thought there was a 5% mortality rate, but my calculations bring something like 10-15%. So I would say you know, at that time right now, I think the mortality rate of coronavirus is 10%. And this could be higher in countries where there is no health system. And don't underestimate that because most, a lot, I would say a majority of countries in this world do not have a very good health system, especially for those who can't pay for it. You know, uh, the majority of the population on this earth is too poor to be is not able to afford healthcare system. So when the coronavirus hits these poor populations, the death rate is going to be much higher because they cannot afford to go to the hospital. Okay, and that was the same problematic with past epidemics. The plague, if you think about the plague in the Middle Ages and like the plague of London in 1665, the rich people, the people who had financial means, they would leave the big city and they would hide in the countryside, and most of them ended up fine and survived the plague because they didn't get it, because they could self quarantine in a way. But the populations of the poor people living in the big cities, they are the ones who died of the plague. So the plague was a disease of circumstances. And this is the scenario that we're going to see with the spreading of the coronavirus. We're already seeing like numbers coming out of Iran, uh, where there are so many deaths that we know what's going on. Is that of course in Iran there are probably those well-off people. But there's also the mass of the people who cannot afford healthcare, and these are the ones who are dying right now. This is why the number of deaths in Iran is gonna go up, and the body bags are gonna pile up. And it's those people who could not afford to get health care when they were sick. Um, so, I think we need to think about this. And, I think the world is pretty much, now pretty much every leader in the world knows that the coronavirus is going to come to his country. Even Donald Trump. Donald Trump was kind of clueless. I'm gonna say. I'm gonna admit it. He was very clueless about the coronavirus. And I'm a Donald Trump supporter, but I'm not afraid to say. I'm not afraid to hold him accountable if he's totally clueless. He has to look at the facts, And I think today he started looking at the facts, and he came out today to speak publicly, and he's got a lot of good people working for him, who are gonna do their best, to deal with this. I'm thinking about the director of the CDC, and the CDC, they try to help China at the very beginning, but China would not allow them into their country because China didn't want the United States to know the extent of the epidemic there. But now we're starting to see what that big nightmare that China was dealing with and is still dealing with. It's that disease which is extremely contagious and has a very high mortality rate. Much like, I'm conservatively, I'd say about 10% now. And if you look at the number of deaths coming out of Italy, look at the number of deaths coming out of South Korea, look at the number of people dying on the Diamond Princess, look at the number of deaths coming out of Japan. Now in the last hours, there was a new death. A person died in Australia. And of course, there was one death in the United States. So this is not just a small disease which doesn't kill anybody. It's an extremely alarming, contagious disease that kills at least 10% of the people that get infected. And if you think that's mild, if you think that's nothing to worry about, think about your whole family. Look at your whole family, and someone just dies. Someone's gonna disappear out of every family out there. At least one person, if not two, out of every family. Think about your last family reunion. I'm thinking about me. Last Christmas, I was with my family having Christmas dinner, and we were at least 10 people there. So one of the family members is going to disappear because of the coronavirus. Is that acceptable? Is that an acceptable debt? Is that nothing? I think if you look at it this way, it's a tragedy. It's gonna be a tragedy in every family. So it's more important than ever that we keep talking about it, even though Google is censoring. I've seen Google is censoring my videos. YouTube is demonetizing the big YouTubers talking about it. So that's why a lot of these big YouTubers don't want to talk about it anymore because they want to make money. Luckily, I was not monetized when I started talking about it, so I don't really care about that. I do make money on the internet by selling stuff on eBay. I have a good eBay business, and I'm looking for it to be even better, But I don't make money making videos. I'm just doing that because I feel like I need to tell people what's going on. Just like when I saw this, when it started in China, I saw that, and I'm used to being in Asia. I know how things work in Asia, and when I saw that in China, I knew this was gonna be big. Um, and now we're still we're still at the very beginning of it. We're still at the very beginning of it, you know. So for me, um, you know, as I've told you in my last videos, that I had a plane ticket to South Korea, which I'm due to take the plane Tuesday in about 3 days. Tuesday morning from here, from my city here in Quebec City, Canada. And of course, I am due to stay 3 days in Seoul, and then because I need to take another plane to go to the Philippines and spend a month in the Philippines. And in the last couple of years, you know, this has been, you know, the joy of my life is to be able to spend a month in the Philippines. Uh, at least like 2 months, if not 3 months a year. And you know, for me, it's like a life or death thing. You know, I really don't want to stay in Canada for a couple more months. The last time I was a month in the Philippines was 5 months ago, and you know, I really need to go back, and it's really important for me. But now this thing has popped up in South Korea, because when I got my ticket, uh, there was like 40, maybe like 30 or 40 cases in South Korea, and I could not predict that things would turn out that way. Now, South Korea has they have made it very clear, and they have talked to the president of the Philippines, that the epidemic is only in Daegu, and the other city where there's an hospital that's infected, and they are containing this, even though there are like now 3,500 cases. They're all being contained in this area, and I know that the South Koreans, they're like they're probably the best people in the world to deal with this, you know, because they're extremely transparent, honest, or I mean, these people are hardworking, and I know that they're containing it, and the president Duterte of the Philippines, he expressed his you know, his trust in the administration in South Korea, and I can understand why. And he said, I'm not gonna ban all flights from South Korea. I'm just gonna ban the people from you know, from the afflicted cities, like Daegu and the other city that beside it. And these cities, they're already in quarantine. They're supposed to be in quarantine. Then the people, they're not supposed to come out. And you know, so it's the president of the Philippines and the administration in South Korea. They have talked about this, and they have agreed to keep, you know, travel between Seoul, the Incheon airport, and the Philippines going, you know, as a matter of trust, you know. And so far, I know that South Korea, they're working night and day to contain this and solve this. And it's, you know, looking back when it's gonna end, it's probably gonna be their biggest crisis since the Korean War. Um, but they're doing all that they can, and this This thing, and I believe it, that it's being contained in Daegu, and that was because of that that cult of people who used to meet in the same building. Um, so I do trust the South Koreans, and so I'm still thinking about taking my flight as it is, staying 2 days in Seoul, and then taking my flight to the Philippines, because it's really important for me to be able to spend the month in the Philippines, because I don't see myself like staying the whole winter in Canada. I mean, when I first started to go to the Philippines, I had like I here in Canada I was suffering from depression. I was my life was really not going well. I must say I had like suicidal thoughts at times, and I had no direction in life. And when I started to go there, life came back into me, and I started working again, and making plans for my future and all this. And frankly, it's it's important for me to do these things and to survive. So I've still got like 48 hours to think about it, and I think I am gonna go uh, to do what I've planned. Now I will see Seoul the way it is right now. I will probably shoot a few videos there for you to see, and I will take my flight to Manila, and and I'll come back. I'm supposed to come back at the end of March and spend one more day in Seoul when coming back. I think I'll take the leap of faith and I'll do it, and I'm gonna put my faith in the administration in South Korea, and because I don't see myself like staying here one more month in Canada. I need this, and I need this for my well-being, for my mental well-being, and my physical health and all this. So I think I will do it, but I've still got the option to cancel before. I've still got like 48 hours to think about it. So that's pretty much my situation. But as for the rest of us, I think it is important to prepare. Uh, I think the best thing that could happen to you or to me, uh, if there's an epidemic in your area, you want to have the means to self quarantine, whether it's to self quarantine inside your home. Uh, that would mean that you would have like food in your freezer or in your pantry, so that you can last at least a week. So that you don't have to get out of your house for a week. So in that case, you don't even need masks if you're not going out. At least a week. But an epidemic that could take like 4 weeks. But start by being prepared for a week, and of course, if you can go get out of where you are, like go into another country, take a 1 month vacation in another country, take a 1 month vacation if you have like a cabin in the woods or something. That's your best option, to stay out of the epidemic. And of course, I know that when the epidemic strikes, the poorest are probably gonna be the targets, because they won't be able to get out. They won't be able to self quarantine, and it's probably what's going on in China. There are people dying of starvation right now because of the quarantines. Of course, these big shots from the Communist Party in Beijing and Shanghai, who are self quarantining in their condos and in their big houses, and they have like food, they have everything. they're not suffering from it. It's the little people, the poor people, who are suffering. So try to prepare as much as you can. Make it a goal to be self-sufficient for a week. Have enough food to stay inside your house for a week. But if you can do more than a week, then that's gonna be your best option to self quarantine. And of course, this disease, in my opinion, is much more deadly than it's being played out by everybody in the media, and I don't know why. Even Donald Trump has played it down like it was nothing today. But to me, it looks like a 10%. It's like a Russian roulette. You have one chance out of 10 of dying of this. So, I really wish it wasn't the case, but from all that I see, from what's happening, it is the case. It's a 10% mortality rate, and the reason why people have been thinking that it wasn't so is because of the fake numbers that were coming out of China. They did their calculations using the China numbers, which are total lies. So now that the disease is there for real in the free world, now we are seeing that it's deadlier than we have thought. So that's my take for tonight. You may or may not agree with me, and if you agree with me or if you don't agree with me, the comment section is free for you. You have the right to write your own theory about this. But that's the way I see things now, and I'm gonna keep you updated almost on a daily basis with this. So I guess you should subscribe to my channel and like this video if it's been helpful to you. And I will see you tomorrow.